So this season has been pretty amazing. You know, when you think about the last 4 months, there is so much symbology, right? We're in the phase of the new year right now, which is all about leadership, transformation, new beginnings, personal power. But when we go back a few months, we go back into really the autumn season, right? When you leave summer and all of the growth and all of the bounty, you enter the fall season. What happens in the fall? All the cornucopias and the ingathering, they're harvesting, so they're bringing in all of the fruit, if you will. So October is what is about, what's October? Halloween, right? What is that? The spirit world. In cultures around the world, October is actually a time of celebration of the spirit world of life, of the continuity of life after the change called death. When we move into November, especially in the United States, we move into the vibration symbolically of gratitude, right? Thanksgiving. December is all about joy, it's all about upliftment, it's all about goodwill to others. It's about bringing in a new light to the world, which is symbolized by that story of the birth of Jesus. We know he was born. Metaphysicians know he was born in the spring, he wasn't born at Christmas. But we understand the symbology of Christmas time. And Jesus was a new message for the world that's lasted 2,000 years. That example of that one prophet, of that one human being, has been a beautiful light to this world. And so as we move into January, this is the month of new beginnings, new year, right? I love this time of the year. This is the time when we get to decide how we want to be masters of our own destiny, don't we? But how do you get to be a master of your own destiny? Just by thinking about it and writing it down on a piece of paper. You got to do some action, right? We got to do his declaration of principle number 4. It says, be personally responsible. So as we step into this vibration and we become personally responsible, we got to take action. We got to take action to become masters of our destiny. And one of the best ways to do that, I already gave you a hint in meditation. Know thyself. Know thyself. The ancient Egyptians, that phrase, know thyself, goes back much further than the Egyptians. But there's a beautiful, I guess you call it a saying that the Egyptians had, and I want to share it with you. They said, the body is the house of God. Man, know thyself, and thou shalt know the gods. Isn't that beautiful? Thousands of years old. Know thyself. And in the Asian culture, in the Tao Te Ching, which is a very an amazing book, if you haven't read that, highly recommend it. In that book, in that culture, they said the following: knowledge over others is knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. Mastering other people is strength. Mastering yourself is true power. So again, they were saying, know thyself. And that's what this new year is all about. It's a time of letting go of all those unproductive and negative self-limiting thoughts, right? When we can do that, we can step into those New Year's resolutions that we wrote down and put on a shelf and already forgot about, right? 3 weeks later. How many of you are working on your New Year's resolutions? I am. Not every day, I'm not perfect, right? But as much as I can, I work on those little ones. It's actually, I'll tell you mine, leadership and public speaking. And actually working with cameras, because it's still hard to do with the camera thing. But I'm trying to get out there in the public and do those. So I work on those every day. I actually go on YouTube and I watch a YouTube video. I turn on the car and I go through the satellite system and I try to copy the people speaking in these news shows and all these different things. I try to just learn their cadence and how they're speaking into the microphone. I try to mimic it. While I'm driving, people think I'm crazy, I know they do. I'm talking, there's nobody in the car. So that's what I'm doing. I'm working on it when I can. So you just got to work on your New Year's resolutions when you can to better yourself, to get your life brighter. When in the new year, like I said, it's a time of letting go of those old habits. This is a time to actually rise above the things that distract us in life. You're not going to want to hear it, but it's your senses, right? We love to eat. Some of us love to smoke, so that's a smell. Some of us love listening to music or going off to concerts and going out and buying the latest gadgets, buying the nicest car, buying some more new clothes when you got a closet full of clothes, more shoes when you got a lot of shoes already. Those are sense desires. And so we actually need to refocus ourselves a little bit. Where's your priority? Where's your priority? Will the shoes get you to a higher plane of existence? No. Will that nice new Prius get you to a higher plane of existence? No. It'll get you through life prettier, but it doesn't last, right? It doesn't last. So what are you doing to infuse your life with a little bit of betterment? Spiritually, that's what I'm talking about. A little bit better. The past, I will tell you, the past can't hold you back. And that future, the future cannot intimidate you either, unless you let it. If you will keep last year's thoughts in your head, you're going to have last year's experience. That's why I always say, when things are bothering you and you're dragging it around, set it down. Don't do it at the airport, they'll arrest you. Don't put your luggage down. But what I'm saying is set it down and keep on walking. Let it go. Let it be a part of your past. The past can't hold you back. And the future can't intimidate you. Because now you're free. You've let those things go. The future has no power against you. We've got to live very consciously every day. We have to live in a state of conscious presence. We have to walk every single day knowing and trusting that power, that infinite intelligence that we speak of, some call God, some call Allah, some call Great Spirit, Grandfather, Grandmother, whatever you want to call it. You must walk into knowing that Spirit provides. That Spirit provides, always provides. I will tell you, many of you know I grew up in Texas. A very difficult upbringing, very strict, conservative Southern Baptist upbringing. And when I moved to Florida, I didn't have much of a concept of what God was. I've been very angry at God for many years. I've been mistreated by people and churches and systems, and it was tough. You know, we've all been there. I'm not just the only one. But before I became a divine metaphysician, I was a completely different person. You would not have recognized me. Very focused on myself, achieving my goals, not interested in anybody else. But once I found this chapel, my life changed because I found something. I found purpose. I started understanding what that principle of God was, that God wasn't a white man, wasn't a person on a throne, didn't have this big book jotting down all the things my mother and dad and relatives said I did. I was just a human being. I was a spiritual being in a human body. And that was a revelation to me. You know, I had no sense of spirituality in my life. I had no purpose, no direction. I measured myself. This is crazy, but I measured myself by what other people told me I was. I measured myself by what society told me I should be. I measured myself by all those labels that everybody wants to put on you and tell you how to run your life. Because I didn't realize there was power behind these walls. And that's what this church showed me. I struggled to find me. I didn't know who I was because everybody certainly wanted to run my life. And what I needed more than anything, was to know myself. I had never sat in meditation. I had gone to yoga, but I still didn't even get that. That was just an exercise to me. You sweated a lot and you hurt after. But what I didn't do was I had never sat down and listened to myself. I'd never focused on me. I was so focused on everyone else to find my place in the world, to see how I measured up. Have you ever felt like that? You have, I believe it. How do we find ourselves? How do we find our purpose? How do we find our light? How do we go about learning who we are in this existence that we're bumbling and stumbling around on this third-dimensional planet? How do we go about this process? You know, I'll tell you that in the new year, the spirit world is always encouraging us. We're trying to leave us signs and symbols. If you will listen and look and sense, they want you to look within. They want you to meditate. They want you to go in every day, sit in that power, as we say, and actually to attune your life to the principle of God to receive your guidance. Some people call it Godspeak. I actually like that word. I think that's my evangelistic friends who say that. Godspeak. Doesn't matter what you call it, spirit, Godspeak, your angels, your spirit guides. It's all the same thing. Are you listening? Are you listening? How powerful. You know, it's wonderful to see these young ladies and young men who come up on this platform, and they seem to just get brighter the moment they step up here, like little Janice. When she comes up here, she beams. She's got a purpose for the day, right? She just loves her some Reverend Tim. He gave her a purpose. And these young men and women who come and help set up, apparently they beam. Reverend Tim said they just kind of glow that they've got a purpose on a Sunday morning, that somebody's interested in them other than just to say hello. And so those little acts of kindness give people purpose. It may seem simple for us just to, that somebody comes and plays an instrument or shares a beautiful song, but these are powerful testimonies because they're giving us their life. They're giving us a little about themselves. Two of the greatest gifts that creative force has given us are these two things: our thoughts and our willpower. What's a willpower? That's that drive, that inner strength that gets you to do the things that you're thinking about. We wouldn't have instruments and we wouldn't have speakers in buildings and Eiffel Towers if somebody didn't put their thoughts into action. So it's all about putting your thoughts into action. We got to take charge of our lives, and if we don't do that, life doesn't happen without our action, right? We talk about personal responsibility. We got to be personally responsible. We can't hope that Reverend Tim or a beautiful Javali will come and do the work for us and lead us to greatness. We got to do the work ourselves. We got to go within. And Spirit always says that those first action steps, what do we got to do? Clear the mind. Because it's full of Texas tumbleweeds, right? Stuff rolling around. I've got to pay the bills. Oh, I didn't write that check. I got to go get bananas because I've got brown bananas at home. They need to be green. All those things rolling around in your mind, distracting you from reality, finding yourself. And so we've got to clear the mind of those limiting thoughts, those distracting thoughts, those negative thoughts. We've got to step into the vibration that we've got to get rid of sadness and guilt in our lives to make room for the positivity and the power of our life that we're about to bring. And one of the most important things is, like I always say, other people's opinion of us are none of our business. I appreciate you and you bless me, but if you have anything other to say, I don't need to hear it. Because I have an inner vision of who and where I'm headed. Who I am and where I'm headed, right? So don't dim my light. You can mudsling somewhere else. And then, what is that party where people go mudding? They get on the tractors and trucks and they go mudding. That's another kind of mud. Maybe I'll show you a video of that. I'll find something. We'll all find a good Texas preacher doing a mud ceremony. I'll find you something. You watch.
It's right here in South Florida happening right now.
Do they have one? Okay, see? I must be prophetic. In Austin, okay, we'll work on that. It's so funny. So if we cleared our mind, we got rid of the sadness and the guilt, and we've gone to the trouble to stop listening to what other people say, how we need to be living our lives, and we understand through our teachings how we need to be living our lives. Once we can do that, we've got this clean, uncluttered mind. We've got a mind that's just ready to be planted, like a beautiful Texas garden, right? We've got a garden ready to be seeded with positivity, ready to be seeded with power and our ideas for greatness. We've got a garden that is ready to grow. And if you change your mind, what do? Change your life. You change your mind, you change your life. It's very interesting because when we step into that vibration, now we can begin affirming and declaring. And once we do that, we can begin to imprint, which is planting the seed, imprint those thoughts, those positive thoughts, those powerful thoughts into the mindscape. And when we do that, we actually begin to manifest our reality. When we're doing all these things now, that's how a metaphysician kickstarts the new year, right? Through positivity, through action, through purpose. We've got to be purposeful. Rick Warren, a famous preacher in the United States, says, you must have a purpose-driven life, or you have no life at all. What is your purpose? What are you doing to serve somebody who's not feeling well? What are you doing to serve your community that may be in need after a hurricane? What are you doing to serve your church? What are you doing to serve your family? Some people they live in a house full of people and don't even serve their family. So it always starts at home. Begin serving yourself, serving your family, serving your community. But never forget that every day we need to remind ourselves of what goals we're shooting for. I love vision boards. Some say they're corny, but they keep your vision in front of you. I never would have taken my first cruise if I had planted that with some little fake dollar signs. Because I didn't know how I was going to raise the money for a $1,000 ticket. It was more than I've ever spent on myself many years ago, and I did it. Because every single day I thought, I'm going on that ship, I'm going on that ship. And every day I put $5, $20, $15 here and there. And before I knew it, I had $800, $900 and I could afford that ticket. The vision board working keeps it front and center, keeps your mind focused. And we got to be focused when we do all this. Remember, we're never alone on this metaphysical journey. We have a room full of brothers and sisters. This is our spiritual house. Outside those walls, they don't support us. They do call us crazy names. They do think we're crazy. Let them think that we're crazy, because their opinion doesn't matter to me. It shouldn't matter to you. This is our truth. And we've got to support each other and lift each other up into these metaphysical truths that we know are reality, that we know work, that we know are fact. Nobody can tell me anything otherwise. When we come together every Sunday morning, we actually take on healing vibrations. Did you ever think about that? Spirit has said that when we enter these sacred spaces, doesn't matter if it's a metaphysical chapel or the Vatican City, when you enter a holy place, a place where people gather to do good, it could even be a soup kitchen, you are taking on the positive vibrations, the healing vibration, the spiritual energies of that space and that gathering. Where two or more are gathered, God is present. Right? So when we come to church on a Sunday morning and we participate and we're here for the spiritual healing service, you actually take on a little bit of that healing energy. You actually advance yourself spiritually. Your gifts eventually begin to unfold a little bit faster with every little bit of extra energy that you take on. Did you ever think of that? It's a truth. That is a truth. Spirit has told us that so many times. When we sit and meditate, when we sit and use our intuitive abilities, and we share those with our brothers and sisters, we literally share our energy with others, and it builds the battery of their body temple up in such a way that they can go off and do their own spiritual work. That's how powerful we are, and we don't give it enough credit. Our light builds up the light of other people. And that's why they say when two or more are gathered, God is present. There's a synergy, there is a creativity that takes place, and we build ourselves up. We bring divinity through ourselves into this space. It's so powerful. I want you to remember, so often we think we're alone. Growing up in Texas, I certainly felt like I was the only kid in the world having all of my issues, and I didn't know you guys were having your issues either, in your farms, in your city apartments, wherever you were living. I didn't know anyone. You know, I lived 2 miles, I think, from the nearest neighbor. So we didn't get to see our neighbors that often, but I felt so isolated. But here in the Metaphysical Chapel, remember, this is our home. This is our place of ingathering. This is our place of healing. This is our place of community. This is our place of promise. And this is our place of upliftment. I want us to repeat after me. It's a new year.
It's a new year.
It's a new me.
It's a new me.
I have changed my mind.
I have changed my mind.
I like that you move your hand like I'm doing. I will change my life.
I will change my life.
Absolutely. If this message touches your spirit today, please rise. Let me hear you.